going on, guys? Had some trouble recording this with my regular mic, the one I'm using right now, actually. So this is gonna sound a little bad. I had to use my Astros. If you ever use those, the mic quality's terrible. So sorry for the outside voice or outside sounds and how bad the actual audio sounds. Hopefully, it doesn't take away from the quality too bad. Tried my best, and since this was my third go around, I didn't really do a ton of editing. This is very raw, so there's a lot to kind of dig in through. I would recommend watching the whole thing, but I will try and get some chapters in there, or some whatever. But see you guys on the inside. Peace.
Alright, so listen, we're just gonna get straight into it. I did this entire video to no avail pretty much. So I'm just gonna switch to my Astro mic, and it's gonna sound like shit, but we'll be alright. We'll figure it out from there. This is probably gonna be a little bit more in depth than the first one I did anyway, so we're a little more structured since I have a better idea of what I'm gonna end up doing. So obviously, as you can see by the title, we're going to be doing an R-301 video in the playlist. Check it out if you have the time to. I don't know if I'm going to branch out to other games, but right now I have some COD and some Apex stuff in there. Especially once the new COD drops, we'll get some more stuff in there. But for now, I have a general why you're bad at Modern Warfare 2, and right now we're doing Apex weapons. Eventually I'm going to do a full aim theory video, but anyways, let's get past the introductory stuff and hop straight into this. So as you can tell, we're working on some R-301 stuff, and I feel like this is the most underutilized weapon in the game. And I know that sounds crazy because so many people use it, but I feel like people are still picking up weapons like the Flatline, or like the Spitfire, and even the alternator sometimes. This gun is so versatile, and I feel like nobody is. I mean, obviously, when somebody's really good at it, you can tell. But even then, I feel like they don't abuse it the way they should. Its DPS is insane. It's got a crazy fire rate, and the recoil is the most manageable recoil in the game. I'm telling you, there's not a gun that has better recoil management in the game. There just isn't. Spitfire, terrible. I mean, it's only the right comparison's the Flatline. The Flatline's recoil is much harder to control. Obviously, you know how I feel about the Hemlock. You don't know how I feel about the Hemlock, but you'll end up hearing about how I feel about the Hemlock. But the R301 is insane. I don't know why people don't use it. So just to kind of help you improve at it, there's gonna be a couple of things we're gonna talk about. One, we're gonna talk about the recoil pattern. I'm gonna cover some aim tips in my aim theory video, but for now we're just going to be working on specific R301 stuff instead of general aim improvement. So with the R301 in general, one, obviously you want to have decent mechanics. That's I regret doing this before I do my aim theory video, but if you have decent mechanics, this is going to be easy to figure out. And the gun is so easy to use, you really don't even need good mechanics. So we can start at the wall up here, so we can kind of look at our recoil pattern. So this is very close. If you're having a whatever use case, this is the recoil pattern. I'm lifting the mouse in the air. That's close. That's without, and we're going to go over this pattern and why this is special. This is kind of this is where I take most of my R301 fights, right in this general little area. So we'll go right next to it. Mouse is lifted. This is with no mag, by the way. I'm gonna do one with a mag as well. And this is normally, especially without a scope, this is where majority of your long range, medium long range fights are happening. Past this, you're gonna see some drop off, and it's gonna be a bit harder to manage past that, especially with no attachments. But here, as you can see, with no attachments, the pattern is very, very simple. So it comes up here, and it almost looks like this little question mark. So you have this curl, this heavy curl here, and then it's almost straight up and down. You have a slight curve to it, so it's a little bit of a curve, and then it curls over. When you're medium, when you're close medium, It's almost straight up and down, and then you get to here. So you get this little dipsy do up here. You get it's this but smaller. Same with this. It's the exact same pattern. This is how, well, obviously this is how recoil patterns are, but it goes almost straight up and down, and you curl. So what you have to remember is most of your bullets are out once you get to this spot. And then even here, this is about the size of a hitbox anyways. So this, from here to here, is about how large your character is anyways. So if you can just make this stay down here, you've already fixed the hardest part of the recoil pattern. Same with this. Most of your bullets are out here. So it's still in this straight up and down once you're getting out past there. These last couple bullets, once you have your recoil pulled down, and we'll kind of talk about that too, you fixed 90% of your problem. I think Timmy did a video and he was talking about it was a real quick like little snippet where he was just like, oh, just pull down, just pull down. That is how you fix the R-301's recoil on this game. You just pull down. It's a little bit more complicated with a controller, just because I don't know what it is. Recoil feels completely different with a controller, obviously, but like the pattern itself feels odd. Like it's harder for me to, I don't know. But specifically with R-301, if you look at the difference here, say this medium close, or this close, which is what we'll call this, I guess. If I'm just, and I have an 1800 DPS. I made a mistake when I made my video. I started 1800 DPS. Here are my 1.2 sensitivity, 1.0 multiplier, then no optic ADS settings. So I'm pulling down a minuscule amount. I use kind of a fingertip grip. I'll end up doing a hand cam when I do my aim theory video. But just pulling straight down, you fixed the entire problem here. This is not moving off of a hitbox. Now we're still talking about static targets, so it can be a little different once you're worried about tracking. But even here we'll go straight next to like I'm pretty sure I think it was in this general area. If not, it's not that big of a deal because it's the same thing through and through. I think I might end up being closer than that, but I don't know. The video shows like right here. But you can fix the problem that, oh man, I'm muddied up by my demonstration by whatever happened there. But you fix majority of the problem. This is within a hitbox, and that's your medium. And once you pull out in a longer distance, it's the same thing. But I'm gonna do that on the dummy, so I don't make a bunch of more holes in the wall. If I'm here, if I'm just pulling down a little bit. Obviously, you see at the end too, the little back and forth curl. Now that is harder to get a. Jesus, it's so easy to use. The first half of your clip is completely straight. I mean, you literally just have to pull down for your first that's 18. I'll tell you when it feels like different. There, 8. Yeah, that's the first half of your clip is completely up and down. That's with no attachments to it. Up here, you don't even have to worry about anything because once you've pulled down just enough to center your aim, you're not bouncing left or right past your hitbox. So on a static target, you can literally just pull down a little bit and you're missing 1-2 shots maybe. And that's if your mechanics aren't great, but you see the little curl at the end there. It pops up and around, but you're still in this hitbox. So the most important thing when you're close and mid is to just pull down. This has no attachments. This doesn't even have mag. I don't know why I blanked on that. It doesn't even have a mag, and you can just, that's with any, once you get good at doing that, at the first thing I do every time I get on, if I'm actually going to be playing like BR, I'll get into the firing range and I'll just kill a couple dummies like that, just to get a good feel, my hand kind of warmed up. But I don't even worry about what's going on up here, unless I'm worried about tracking, which, man, this is where my aim theory video is going to come in clutch. Once it comes out, I will tag that. We're going to be talking about tracking, DPI, mouse settings, everything. It's going to be very, very in depth, but just at a base level, that's going to be a good way to utilize your static dummies. Sorry, my eye just, oh man, that's gonna get cut out. Oh my god, my eye. Oh, my eyeball. Oh my god, my eyeball. It's just so bad. Okay. Alright, we're back to it. Oh my god, no, dude, my eye. Jesus. Whatever. We'll persevere. Man, my age is so bad now. But that's pretty much it for like your mid and close. In terms of ADSing, hip fire on this gun is a little inconsistent. What I mean by that is, if you were sitting static and you're very close, you're not gonna have a problem. But the moment you pull out a little bit, this isn't a fantastic hip fire gun. I will say that the flatline smokes this thing hip fire, which you'd think would be the opposite almost, since this almost feels like a sub sometimes. But I wouldn't really hip fire much with this gun. You can, but try to recoil smooth if you can. But for the most part, I stick to ADSing. Even with a 2x, I still feel like it's just easier for me to land on my shots with 2x, even close. But you obviously have the times where you need to kind of scope out for a second. Just make sure you're centered, and you're going to have pretty much the same amount of bullets hit as you normally would. That'll also help you get familiar with the change in ADS to recoil, or ADS to hipfire. So if you aim in like a quarter of your clip and just finish it out hip firing. But that's pretty much all I'm going to cover hip firing on here. We'll do some more hip firing stuff when we get to subs and stuff, but the R-301, we're not going to focus on that too much. You want to be using this gun medium, medium short, medium long if you have some attachments. So if you actually have a full set of attachments for it, this thing's a breeze. You don't even really need a guide on it. If you're having trouble with full attachments on it, I would recommend just working on your mechanical skills in general. Not to be mean or anything, but the gun is just really, it's incredibly easy to use. So if this isn't working for you, then there's some. This is what I mean medium long. This is your, pretty much as much distance as I usually want to use this thing at. I don't really want to get further out, especially if you just have a 2. Well, this is fine too. If you're fighting a team, don't be afraid to use this thing long range. You'll be surprised how many shots you can actually hit. Like here, this is further out than I normally would, but at the same time, I can still get some damage out here. But you're getting a more wiry feeling to your recoil out here. You can obviously jitter if you want to jitter, but I'm not going to cover jittering. I think it's completely useless. We'll go over that in the aim theory video too. That thing is going to be like an hour and a half, and at the minimum an hour. I'll have that time stamped, and we'll do a really in-depth thing. It's going to be insane, I promise, to the 9 people who are going to be watching that. But if I can help one person, that's all I need. Now, let's get into a couple more complicated things. So, hold on, let me... Okay, this is the important bit. So we're going to go over recoil smoothing here. Smoothing. Whatever. This is going to be laid out in chapters too, so you should be able to find this bit pretty easily. Let's look at the... Okay, before I even introduce you to that, what I meant to say is, if you've been a part of the community for a bit, you've probably heard streamers talk about it, or you've heard it mentioned in passing. If you don't know anything about it, then, or if maybe you've heard it and still don't know what it is. If you don't know what it is, when you're strafing, you have reduced recoil. It basically eliminates your, I don't know the best way to, like... This essentially, so smoothing essentially removes your vertical recoil. For the most part, it smooths it out. We'll come back to the name, but basically, if instead of coming here and just going straight up, when you are aiming from left to right, like horizontally, like you're watching somebody strafe, I'm not moving the mouse at all, I'm just going left to right. I can't really showcase that very well, but it keeps you in this straight line almost. There's no it's not yanking me up at all if I'm moving fast enough. So this is the basis for jitter. So when you're jittering, you can kind of come into this like and keep your aim here. I don't like jittering. I feel like it makes my aim really inconsistent. But that's the idea. That's the basis of jittering. That's why people kind of figure that out. It's because when your mouse is moving from left to right, there's no horizontal recoil for it. Obviously, you don't have to have that big of a. But if you get good at jittering, you can really like laser people with it. It's basically just resetting your aim back to the center. But the act of resetting it kind of cancels out the recoil there. You can achieve the same thing with just regular recoil control. Obviously, your upper levels, if you get really good at it, it's ridiculous. But for the most part, most people aren't gonna get that good at it, just to say it completely bluntly. So I would recommend focusing on your actual mechanical skills instead of trying to not cheat the game, but abuse a mechanic that is difficult to get used to anyways. Does his thumb clip through the gun? Am I tripping here? Yeah, his thumb is just inside the gun. I never realized that before. But you essentially get the same effect when you are tracking, or not tracking, when you are strafing. So if I'm strafing left to right and I'm following this guy, I get the same exact effect. You can see how my mouse pretty much doesn't move. So if I pick a point here and it's the best way to demonstrate this. If I pick a point here and I just want to stay on that point, as long as I'm moving my aim or my mouse with that point and I'm moving from left to right, you get recoil smoothing. This is incredibly helpful if you've I cannot stress this enough. For the most part, almost everybody's doing this. So if you feel like people don't have recoil in this game, they don't. You're just not doing what they're doing. So if I'm doing the same thing here, let me preface this. The further out you go, you can't strafe fast enough to eliminate your recoil. So if I'm in this area and I'm recoil smoothing, it's perfect, right? I can just do one direction. That was a little jumpy there, but still. I can do the other direction. I can go back and forth here. As long as I'm correcting my aim back to the dummy, like centering it back to the dummy, I'm not getting any vertical recoil there. Versus if I'm at the same distance and I'm just firing straight, you can see how much my aim kind of jumps up if I'm not really working on pulling it down. But even if I'm pulling it down, you can see it kind of bounce a bit. Now this is with attachments on. We can remove those too if that floats your boat. I'm gonna keep the gold mag on so I don't have to keep reloading, but it's the same jazz. If I am just hold on, my dog wants up on my lap. Oh, come here, Bubba. There you go, good boy. He's trying to lick my face now. Alright. Hopefully I'll remember to cut that out. If not, you got a good little blooper in there. So that is the basis of recoil smoothing. Strafe and follow. Strafe and follow, and it pretty much eliminates your recoil. That goes for almost every gun in the game. I'm pretty sure every gun. With subs, that's insane, but we'll go over that more with a sub video. But for the most part, those are the aiming tips. As for use case, which I'm going to structure this a bit more than how I did my wingman, because I don't think I was very clear and concise in that one. I just kind of, the way I recorded that one's a bit odd too. So R-301, mid close. If you have a spray gun, sure, or if you have a shotgun, sure, but you can use this thing up tight and it shreds. I mean, it's ridiculous. The gun is insane, and people aren't using it like it's insane. But if you have all attachments, you can stray out further. I'll pick those attachments back up, and we'll come further out here, and I'll kind of show you what I mean by the smoothing, chopping off. So if I am all the way back here and I'm trying to strafe and track, as you can see, I'm still getting vertical recoil here. It's not insane, but it's harder for me to keep my aim onto this guy while I'm moving than it would be for me to just pull down and actual like recoil control here. There's a little reset there that I had to do, but outside of that, I mean, if you have a fully kitted R-301, you should be you can just one mag people from anywhere on the map almost. It's ridiculous. The gun is just insanely easy to use. But for the most part, um, I would stick to, if you don't have a fully kitted, if you don't have a fully kitted R-301, stick to this. What is this? 40 meters, 35, 40. This is how far I'm taking R-301 fights. I don't like to strap further than that. That's where people have problems. So if you don't have any attachments and you're trying to get good at aiming with this gun, it is hard. It's that far out pattern with the little curly Q at the top. That is hard to deal with from all the way back here unless you are really good mechanically. That's my best advice, is to stay within that area. Obviously, I prefer the 2X on a controller. I love the 2X. Where on the controller, I just try and stray away from the 3X. PC with a mouse, dude, this thing rips. I feel like people run away from this 3X because it is a bit jarring, but this thing is insane. I can't even explain how good this thing feels with a mouse versus a controller. I can't aim with this thing in controller. I didn't mean to do that mid-reload. The reason being, we're gonna have a quick conversation on aim assist. The reason being is the harder your scope zooms on a controller, the less aim assist you get. The less. So if you have a 3X, you're getting less aim assist than you would if you had like a 2X. I'm not sure what that caps out at. I just know the difference between the 3X and 2X is huge. I'm sure there's numbers you can find on that, but that is 100%. That's how that works. That's actually what makes Vantage so strong on controllers, is that her sniper has aim assist, which you don't get on the other actual like regular sniper scopes. But there's a multiplier. So the further out your zoom is, or the further your zoom is, the more zoom you have on your scope, the less aim assist you get. So on a mouse, all you're getting is the zoom. Nothing's changing. You're just getting a better picture. So like here, this zoom is insane. I cannot understand why people wouldn't. This thing's a laser, dude. The thing's a laser, especially if it's fully kitted. This is where you can kind of pull back more when you have a 3X. I get a ton of ammo for this thing. People like to shy away from carrying a bunch of ammo. I don't. I do the exact opposite. I carry a ton of ammo for it. So I'll be in like mid game with like 300 light rounds, just dumping at people. That's my favorite way to use it. I usually pair it with a sniper. So if I'm like long, I can get some picks, or I can, get some damage up. And then once we hit medium, the thing fries. Even without attachments, the thing is ridiculous. I would recommend, just like I said in the video, get into arenas. I have some clips I may put at the end. We'll see. Get into arenas. You're guaranteed a wingman past round 1, or not a wingman. You're guaranteed an R-301 past round 1. So from round 1 on, you can get a R-301, and you can upgrade it as much as you want. If you want to play around with attachments, you cannot upgrade it at all, and feel how it feels actually in game. Firing range recoil feels different than in-game recoil. I can't explain it. I'm pretty sure it's just like server ping, or maybe playing against live people. But we'll get into like detailed tracking. Tracking doesn't change really. The idea of tracking doesn't change really per weapon on here. It's more your mechanical skills. Don't really understand. I don't really know how to talk about that in a more detailed way until we actually get to it. But you'll see what I'm saying. The art of tracking is more mechanical than it is anything. That's why people are more likely to switch controller if they're bad at tracking. They aren't mechanically skilled enough, and they don't want to practice at it. That's really the only reason people will talk about aim assist and yada yada yada. I play both. If you can't aim with a mouse, it's a mechanical issue. It's just a skill issue at that point, and you can fix it or you can't. No, you can fix it. You can fix it or you won't fix it. Either way, but we'll cover that later. I think that's probably it. I may throw some arenas clips in there, just some messing around, but get into arenas, play with the weapon, get some experience with it. That's going to be my tip for every gun. Get some experience with the gun, and arenas is perfect for that because you'll be fighting with it constantly. Any gun in the game outside of your Kraber and Mastiff, stuff like Basically, anything in the game, you're gonna get a chance to use an arenas, guaranteed. Oh, what? They put the throwing knife in here? That is nuts. What? What? That's raw. All right. I didn't know that. But anyways, yeah, get into arenas, play around with it. Get into here and look firsthand at what I was talking about and try it yourself. Can't help you too much with my controller, but we'll cover some more stuff and some other things. So if you like this, let me know. If you have some more tips for people, put those into the comments. Like, dislike, scream at me, whatever you prefer. If you feel like this helped you at all, give me a sub. I'm not gonna pander like that. That's I hate that. I hate that so much. Just, you know, I hate that. Oh man. I'll leave that in there for shits and giggles though. But I'll see you all later. Peace.